champions in 1998, South Africa, New Zealand in 2000. Both teams hoping that they could buy the championship in 2025. As it goes into the evening, it gets a little bit chilly here at this time of year in Lahore. The toss was won earlier today by Mid Satna. He chose to bat first, and New Zealand have racked up 362 for 6 centuries for Rachin Ravindra and that man Kane Williamson, with a quick fire 49 at the end to Superman Glenn Phillips. 3 wickets to Lungi Ngidi for 72 runs. I thought he might have had a little bit more fortune actually. It seemed at times that he was bowling better than that, but they leaked over 100, South Africa, in the last 10 overs of the innings through some excellent hitting from New Zealand. What have New Zealand gleaned from their time out in the middle? Time will tell not too long from now. Al Jamieson, Glenn Phillips, and I'm sure they would have been trading information from batters to bowlers and what they should be doing out there. Themba Bavuma and Ryan Rickleton. Rickleton already with 100 in this tournament in their first game. New Zealand's preparation has been extensive, playing in a tri-series in which South Africa also competed. New Zealand won that last month. Good starts are important to any team chasing any total, but on some occasions even more so as South Africa are in pursuit of 363. Simon Dool and Sean Pollock alongside me. Sean, what will be going on in that huddle, you think?
Yeah, I think it will just be along the lines of, we've done really well to post something formidable, but let's not take it for granted. Let's make sure we do everything we possibly can from a fielding perspective. Let's be on point with our bowling. Let's give them nothing for free, and let's stay absolutely committed for the full 50 overs. That would be the plan for New Zealand. South Africa on the other side, they'll need a really good chase. They would look at it and maybe break it up into 10 over spells and think that in this initial power play, someone like a Rickleton really needs to come to the fore, get them off to a fast start so they're up with the scoring rate, and then they can calculate as they go on. But it will need everyone in that batting department to be firing. And I suppose the one thing you would say, Dooley was down there looking at the pitch, but if there is a surface where you think you could get stuck in and maybe make a play at trying to chase this down, this would be one of those surfaces you would think could be able to do it on. And South Africa do have history. Twice they've managed to chase down a score in excess of this in their one-day international career. So there'll be a few reference points from that, but it is going to be a massive ask, and everything would have to go according to plan.
Ryan Rickleton, Themba Bavuma, just a reminder. Simon Dool, as Sean Pollock alluded to, we were listening to you chatting with Rachin Ravindra at halfway mark and looking at the pitch. Re-engage for us what you said.
Rachin Ravindra talked about the crumbling nature a little bit. There's a few small areas, but it's minimal. If you do happen to hit one of those, it might jump a little bit. The slower balls might grip and hold in the surface a touch. But for the most part throughout, it is relatively still flat. There's some good grass coverage there. It will slide on, although there won't be a lot of dew, I don't think, in the early parts. The ball still does slide on under lights a little better. I think that will be the key. He talked about the slower balls holding in the surface as the ball got older. I think Sean Pollock's absolutely right. A good start, put New Zealand under pressure at times with the ball, and you saw it doesn't have to be 7, 8 and over. 5.5, 6 and over was all New Zealand did for the first 10, 15 overs. It allowed them to build a platform, and with the power South Africa have in the middle to lower order, they're a chance.
Matt Henry is one of the standout good length bowlers in the power play currently operating, Sean, as you did for much of your career. What have you made of his outings?
Yeah, impressed me in this tournament so far. I think he's done really well. We saw him pick up some wickets the other night against India, and he's got that ability to get a little bit of shape through the air. He's had to take over the role of one of the leaders of this attack. And there's a lucky start for South Africa. Some movement, just a little bit of movement back inside edge, and Rickelton gets the innings underway. But New Zealand will take a little bit from that. It's good area, a little bit of movement, applying some pressure, and they'll feel that just maybe we can get a couple of early wickets here to build on the pressure of our 362.
And in any run chase of this magnitude, you are going to need some elements of luck. You're going to need things to go your way. Early sign of just a little bit of good fortune. Need those little things to go your way.
If that's a little bit disconcerting that it didn't bounce and stay down. But I think also the initial 10 overs, you just can play some good cricket shots. It's not like you have to go airborne. You do know on this kind of surface, if you manage to middle it and find gap between the fielders, it'll fly away to this boundary. It's a quick outfield, and you'll get reward for the shots that you play. So I don't think you need to be excessive, but they'll want him to be positive, that's for sure.
That position right there, even against India in Dubai the other day, they started with Kane Williamson at short cover. And then you've got your point, where Kane is now, and a backward point in Glenn Phillips. And remember against Pakistan in Karachi, that was like a fortress when Babar Azam was trying to get through that little cordon. It's a short cover that's intriguing. That's a top shot. Just dropped the bat on it with very little follow through. First boundary of the innings. Second.
The first one was fortunate, Bish. That's the first proper boundary of the innings. I'm going with that. That was beautifully timed. That's a really class shot. Over pitch, just the full face of the bat. No risk, no fuss. That's a good shot.
Looking for a little bit of movement, Matt Henry. That's what he does generally so well, but he's met with a blade.
And breached that ring. 8 without loss. One of the 3 very tall quick bowlers playing in this contest, along with Phil O'Rourke, and as we've seen before, Marco Jansen. Kyle Jamieson coming belatedly into the tournament as a replacement player against perhaps the shortest man on either side. A great part of his strength and his ammunition is that movement through the air and off the pitch.
And we saw a little bit of that in Dubai in the India game. Great seam position, just fending outside the line, Bavuma.
I think Bavuma would have gone into the dressing room thinking, well, there's no movement out there. As look at his first delivery, and it goes away nicely. Wonderful presentation of that seam. The only thing I would say, and I've watched Kyle Jamieson since he's come back, is that when you've had a back injury, sometimes you can battle to bowl a fuller length, because you're a little bit scared about the injury and everything that can go on. There's the fact that he's very tall and bowls from a massive height. But I'm just wondering if he can get the right length to Temba Bavuma. Temba Bavuma loves playing the ball off the back foot. He loves going square of the wicket with the cut shots and playing the pull shot. He's going to wait and just see whether Jamieson can find the right length to him.
That's where New Zealand creates so much added pressure with their fielding.
Might also find it take a little bit of a while to get himself going. He hasn't played for a while. Was out with a bit of sickness, and then obviously a rained out encounter. He might take a little bit of time to find his feet.
There's that man. Be careful when you hit the ball in that direction. There was a time when the West Indies team that I played in, I was the shortest of all the bowlers. Curtly Ambrose, Courtney Walsh, Giantson, Marco Jansen, Carl Jamieson. So you get that added lift off the surface, but it must be combined with accuracy.
Yeah, and that is a nice indication of the fact that Marco Jansen collapses quite a lot, because he's probably as tall, if not taller, than Kyle Jamieson. He collapses his front leg quite a bit more than Kyle Jamieson does. And O'Rourke bowls nicely over the top. O'Rourke would be about 2.5, 3 inches shorter in height than Jansen.
Maiden over, 8 without loss.
And the remodel of the action of Jamieson. Jump as high as he used to. He sort of skips through the crease a lot more. He used to have a really big leap. Highlighted that throughout the tournament. What he hasn't lost is bowling over top of that front leg, still being able to swing the ball, and still at reasonable pace, up around 137, his quickest in his first over.
Five for 42 for Matt Henry against India in Dubai in the previous game. Good fielding again with Santner.
Henry in a game in Dubai picked up Shubman Gill early on. That was a stunner from Phillips, and Williamson showing that he's got it as well. And a catch for Phillips at the back end. 5 wickets for Matt Henry. He's been simply brilliant the last 2 to 3 years in particular in this New Zealand attack.
Henry joined top with Varun Chakrabarti, who had a belated entrance into the final 11 for India in the tournament. They're both fifers in that same game, India versus New Zealand. Shami with 5 for 53. Oh, brilliant. Excellent length.
Yeah, they've been really good. New Zealand, got to give credit. Jamieson was wonderful in his first over, movement through the air, and he's going to try and use it as best he can. But this is a perfect length from Henry. He really has come on leaps and bounds as a strike bowler for New Zealand. Slightly scrambled seam, but the length is on point. Exactly where you want to be. Players just going down and having a chat with each other. Remember, 0 off 9, but maybe Rickleton just saying, don't worry about it. Don't be too concerned. Just watch the next one. Play it on merit. Don't try and force the issue.
Be a little different in a chase, can't it? The pressure that gets mounted if you score at a really slow run rate, the pressure that then gets mounted on the middle order, the lower order, as opposed to setting a target. Sort of play a lot freer in the middle overs because you've got off to a decent start.
As good as the first one, he hit in the very same direction, overpitched from Henry. 14 without loss.
It's mad. No, it's like 12 to 13 to you, I think. All right. Okay, bye-bye. Right, come on. Will we try again?
There's a lot to think about when buying your first home. But with AIB's support, getting your mortgage sorted is easier. So you can focus on the questions you really care about.
What did you think?
AIB, for the life you're after.
He's not trying to hit it too hard. I think that's come off the hip. And the bat down on the ball. Rickleton. All about timing.
Talked about how Temba's been out of the game, and just you feel the form of Ryan Rickleton. He's just happy to hold his pose. He knows if you miss your area, he'll put you away. Whereas Temba just struggled to get going here so far. 1 off 11 now, trying to use his feet, trying to upset the length of Jamieson. You get the feeling from a South African perspective, he needs to get a delivery that he can put away and just get his innings underway.
So get the feeling that New Zealand are staying very tight inside the circle when Bavuma's on strike. Sure that he is starting to feel more and more uncomfortable.
Dribbling no runs from 8 deliveries of Kyle Jamieson. Nine deliveries without a run. Brilliant way to start your spell. First runs of Kyle Jamieson, inadvertent. Talked about Henry being a very good length bowler in the power play, which is his strength. Just on the front edge of that good length, being driven and then over pitching, quite unlike him. Everyone's prone to 1 or 2 errors. 2 good shots.
Yeah, especially on this surface, I think. Ball's not swinging. Jamieson getting a little bit of swing, but Henry's not a swing bowler. He relies heavily on that perfect length, which was highlighted nicely. Touch full because it's not quick, bouncy wicket. Anything up there will just slide onto the middle of the bat.
Nice touch. Dealing in boundaries mostly, Ryan Rickleton.
Just in the line there, Jamieson needed to be outside the off stump. He's bowled all his deliveries to the right-hander. First go at the lefty and he gets it onto leg stump. And Rickleton is a good touch. he will not miss out on that. And the other man down the other end, Temba, will be thinking, why can't I get one of those leg side juicy half volley to be able to put away?
He was looking for the outswinger to the left-hander, looking to take the ball across him, but it didn't move at all. Started it far too far down leg stump.
Back to his good length, 19 without loss. .362 for New Zealand off their 50 overs, hundreds for Williamson and Rachin Ravindra. At Henry. Ball start. 2-14 for South Africa's captain. Wonderful 100 for Rickleton at the start of this tournament.
Yeah, his first one, the international 100. He had come off test 100s, he got 100, a test 200, and he'd got a 90 odd, I think it was, early on in the year, but this was the first opportunity to get to that three figures, and he's been in such good touch domestically back home in the SA20, hit the ground running in this tournament. Was simply superb that night. One of the most impressive things about him, Bish, is he's not one of those guys who fiddles boundaries. You know, you sometimes see people walk across and clip it leg side and can only score square of the wicket in the offside. He has a wonderful ability to present the bat nice and straight. He's strong square of the wicket, but he scores a lot of his runs straight down the ground, and in the SA20s and T20 stuff, Elmer gets through for a little single to take a little bit of pressure off him. When he goes over the top, it's also straight down the ground. It's not having to open up and try and fit it into square areas. So he's very elegant and very orthodox. And in that tournament, I think his strike rate was about 175 throughout the tournament, and he was top scorer. So he came into this tournament in good touch. In South Africa, that's why I mentioned when we started, they need a good power play from him. If he gets them off to a fast start, they'll be up with the rate, and they'll feel that they can maybe go in and achieve this massive total.
Deep backward square in place for Ryan Rickleton with a short fine leg. Upper deep fielder is a deep third.
While we laud Ryan Rickleton and the form he's been in of late, what's been happening with him, what South Africa need from this man, from their captain, is something completely different from what we've seen in ICC men's 50 over events. 10 innings, 1/2 century only, a tick over 200 runs at an average of 22 and a strike rate of 71 in 10 ICC men's 50 over events. Gone, gone, pace off. Henry gets one to hold in the surface, and it's picked up comfortably at cover, and a big wicket of Rickleton.
Yeah, he's definitely cut across it. Bish was going on about short cover and what a brilliant fielding position it seemed to be. Well, it's worked the trick, just held in the surface. He stops his shot, and as he looks up, he realized, oh no, it's heading to Bracewell. I'm going to have to be on my way. And that is a massive blow. Of the two at the crease now, he was free-flowing, was Rickleton. He'd got himself to 17 of 11 deliveries. In the 12th delivery, he holds out. He has to go. South Africa, 20 for 1.
ICC Champions Trophy on Sky Sports, sponsored by Remitly.
Taste the Irish classics from Just Eat, Supermax, Boojum, Sansab, August Galorella.
Cooker, 100 degrees boiling, hot, cold, filtered, chilled and sparkling water. The tap that does it all. Go to cooker.ie for our sparkling offer.
ICC Champions Trophy on Sky Sports, sponsored by Remitly.
Zarasi van der Dusen. Consecutive half centuries for him in this tournament. But that short cover, talked about it. I saw it all the way almost through the power play in the game against India. Didn't have the telling effect, but here you could understand why New Zealand have had him in there.
We thought he might have rolled his fingers across it, but didn't seem to do so, and the speed was actually up at 132 kilometers per hour. Just maybe held in the surface, out in front of himself, a touch Rickleton, and he just suggested it's actually bounced steeper, just 23 meters away, but it didn't go to him with much pace, and it seemed like a really comfortable take. But that's a huge wicket. Big score on the board, and they've got the initial breakthrough.
Boss van der Dusen knows conditions here relatively well. He plays in the PSL here. Short cover in there as well. Easy ball to get him going. Even the giant that is Willow Rock can't pull it back. 24 for 1.
Just gone searching a little bit there, Matt Henry. Too full again, and then just angling into that leg stump. What do you want, Rusty? What would you like first up? Just a little halfie on leg stump, please. Just a little half volley on leg stump.
Miller, happy with that suggested order, or do you see it differently?
It will be that order. Mulder has come before Janssen in the innings that we've seen so far, and if it's a run chase and they need quick runs, then maybe they'll swap them around. But also they have been flexible, South Africa. If it's a good situation, sometimes Hendrik Klaasen comes in, particularly if it's going to be the spinners that are going to be introduced. They can kind of swap out with Aiden Markram. But for now, plenty of experience there, plenty of firepower. They just need to get this inning started.
If Kyle Jamieson can go back onto that good length once again. Simon, you know him very well. He got selected for New Zealand's under 19 team. I think he was selected on the basis of being a batter who could bowl, wasn't he?
Top order batter who offered a little bit with the ball, and that's why his batting has sort of taken a back seat, because he's still more than capable, probably test match level, still very capable of batting 7 minimum. But he works so hard on his bowling, and he's developed the ability to swing the ball.
There's one for Temba Bavuma to pick off. Jamieson will be disappointed. It built so much pressure, and you felt like something was going to give, and then what did give is a genuine leg stump half volley. Temba Bavuma said, "Thank you very much. I'll take a piece of that."
Nicely played, to a good balance. Didn't go too square with the shot.
He first came into the New Zealand setup as a test bowler. The thing that surprised everybody, I think, was the swing, the in-swing and the out-swing at reasonable pace and good height.
Eastfield and New Zealand in this tournament don't necessarily go together that often. The big booming in-swinger before the back injury. I haven't seen much of it in this tournament in the game that I watch live. To Glenn Phillips this morning just after the toss extensively actually about his fielding and his catching, and he said just growing up from a very young kid, his dad would often hit balls for them. He was involved in a little bit of gymnastics, so diving about is something that he's been doing since he was a kid. And it has become ingrained in him now to be able to throw himself everywhere.
I can remember reading somewhere that Jonty Rhodes was one of his heroes. And Jonty was very similar. I mean, whatever sport he played, whether it was soccer or hockey or whatever it may be, he threw his body around. He was diving to stop hockey balls or diving to get a hold of soccer balls. So it's kind of the nature of the beast, isn't it? Is that they learn from an early age to go about their business in that fashion. And this all comes naturally. We go, wow, how brilliant is that? But he's like, what do you mean? I've been doing this since I was 3.
What a competitive little backyard as well, that one, with his brother Dale. Plays first-class cricket back in New Zealand.
Says his second nature when he dives. He doesn't think about injuring himself because he's been doing it for so long, how to contort his body. 30 for 1. But he'll save it at practice sessions. He won't do it at practice sessions. He'll take orthodox sorts of catches. But then from the time the game starts, he switches into game mode, and wherever it goes, the ball, he goes after it. He said sometimes he'll dive at cover, and he may not necessarily reach the ball. He knows he's not going to get there. Dives at cover on the wicket or point or whenever, even though he's a long way away from it, he's just keeping his muscle memory going so that eventually he'll creep closer, and when it comes, he'll give these people lots to cheer about.
I haven't had any suggestions about anyone quicker over 40 yards. I put it out there. I thought, find me a cricketer in the world faster over 40 yards. Field again. We haven't seen that, as Ian Bishop mentioned. There hasn't been too much untidiness from the New Zealanders in the field throughout this tournament, but a throw from Santner. What happens to Williamson here? Oh, I just can't quite get across. Can't quite get across.
I think he was actually on the right angle. I think it was a bit of a wayward one from Santner. He was trying to throw it like underarmy and missed it. Talking about the flying Jonty Rhodes and the Oracle flying, there he is. Picture of him. It was a brilliant catch he took in England. Spectacular.
Because of the lack of, I suppose, sideways movement, very little of it, the slip has come out. Slip has gone into a short mid-wicket. So now there's a short cover and a short mid-wicket. Either side for those new to the game, close near the batter.
It allows Henry to bowl a little straighter. I'd like to see the square leg come a little bit squarer. Williamson, it might be just sort of in front of square. I think he could come a little bit squarer, more towards the umpire perhaps.
Yeah, one thing I'd add, on a surface where you can just stand up and hit through the line, it's just putting a little thought process in the batter's mind as to, well, if I do just try and hit through the line, can't I get it wrong? There's someone to catch me. Whereas if he's on the ring, you're kind of backing yourself that even if you're not quite there, you can go through with a shot and it'll bounce short of those guys who are situated deeper. This gives them just something in their eye line. That's how I think it's a good field.
And for both of you who were very good at one swinging the ball, in Sean's case, that consistency of length, bringing those fielders into play. Henry bowled very well at the back of the game against India with his cutters, pace-offs. The shot, McWicket. You going to next Simon Will O'Rourke or Michael Bracewell can bowl one in the power play?
Yeah, don't mind Michael Bracewell, but I just think maybe even Santner himself with the two right-handers out there. Maybe Mitchell Santner himself might just think about one inside the power play before he goes to O'Rourke.
Three off the over, 33 for one.
For one after 7, so the run rate at the moment is 4.71. Not damaging New Zealand in the power play at this point, South Africa. Rickleton did his best. Bavuma, not sure. He might have a cunning plan, but I don't know what it is at this point. Eight from 23 is not helping the cause because it's putting pressure on players at the other end, and Rickleton felt like he had to hit boundaries because they were going nowhere with the skipper, and in the end he chipped one to short cover. So, and he looked good. Rickleton looked good. I mean, he is a player. We rave and wax lyrically about Rachin Ravindra, but Rickleton, keep an eye on that name.
They've hit a nice length, Jamieson, as well as Matt Henry. Nice, really nice work by Jamieson because he's into the side. He came in as a replacement. In fact, Dale and myself, we flew in with him, and the rest of the squad were here already. So called upon to come into the team, and here he is in the semi-final and having to find his best. And to this point, doing more than a decent job, having started with a maiden.
Well, he bowled 6 straight against India, and you don't see too many in the modern game bowl 6 straight, which means he can either be a 2-spell bowler, 4 up his sleeve, or a 3-spell bowler.
That's his return so far. He's looked really good so far, and there has been a little bit of swing this evening, something South Africa couldn't find earlier today. It's a little cool out there, and this breeze is still blowing from right to the left, just assisting Jamieson to get that away shape. I'd like to see if the South Africans maybe use the crease a little bit. Maybe just take a step out of the crease or go a little bit deeper in the crease just to play with his length. Right now they've just allowed him to bowl in the same area all the time, and he's really happy to hit that zone.
Two quite similar players in terms of momentum, Van der Dussen and Bavuma. They like to work their way into an innings, which is great 9 times out of 10. But when you're chasing 360, that period of working in can only be very short. Run aggressively. So far, that's been one of the best things.
You also can't get it wrong if you take the time to bed in. You can't then make an error as you go along, because it means whoever comes in after has less time and has to go pretty much straight away. A long way out from here, but the expectation and certainly the plan would have been, can you at least stay with New Zealand for that first part of the game?
It's a gap there. Santner will keep it down to 2. Quite athletic. He's got a good left arm too. Right, 36 for 1. Blue Worm has a bit of momentum to find, otherwise the bit towards the end is going to have to be unbelievably good. South Africa are unbelievably good with some of their players. Klaasen, Miller. You've got to put them in a position to finish the game, not start it. 5th over for Henry.
He's been excellent. He's been on the money.
Oh, you just said it, Smithy. We will continue to wax lyrical about Rachin Ravindra. Some fantastic shots, and early on he took the game by the scruff of the neck with some fabulous shots. Able to play the ball at the top of its bounce and to make sure of getting through the field, not necessarily trying to go over in getting New Zealand started, yet all of it was still very controlled and not taking undue risk. That's why he's right at the top of the fantasy game, closely followed by who he batted with, Williamson, who had a contrasting innings, but at the end of their batting, Williamson actually scored faster.
That's what's needed. Just a little bit of invention, Dale Steyn, you got it.
Yeah, this is better from Temba Bavuma. Potentially a rare bad ball from Matt Henry. He's been on the money so far. This one, we'll have a look now on the replay if Temba came down the wicket or if it was just, he did shimmy just a little bit. That's what we alluded to. He just wants to change the length of the bowler. So New Zealanders have hit a really good length so far. South Africans now are walking into that length. Temba Bavuma's been out there for 25 balls, so he's had a good side of it now. He should be able to start picking up the pace and the length a little bit better.
In the breakdown of Kane Williamson's innings, saying how he sort of started and it was a contrast with Ravindra. He was 40 from 56 balls. That's a strike rate of just over 71. And then he scored 62 from 38 balls when he was going and able to manipulate the ball to various areas of the park and to put the foot on the accelerator. The balance, isn't it? It's the one that's difficult to find. Often we'll say you can't win the game in the first 10 overs, but you know, because if you try and do too much, then you could lose too many wickets and you could be out of it, and at the back end you run out of wickets with the score seemingly within reach.
That's a very good shot off the back foot. Santner won't be running that down in a hurry. Very good over for South Africa. 10 from it, 46 for 1.
Tall batters, they're a headache for some. Look at that, he just stands up, uses all of his height and is able to, off that back foot, leans back and presses it through that offside. Yep, top shot.
Not sure what to say about that.
You can't get past past the jersey, can you?
Well, it's the Gulbadine as well with the muscles.
Those were impressive guns. Don't be jealous. Show us your guns.
Show some respect, will you?
I take it all back. I take it all back. You had to pull that one out. Where am I going to go from there?
I'm working on my pecs. We're never going to outgun Gulbadine's guns, are you?
No, you're not. Fair enough.
Work on something else. Oh, you know that. Straight up and over, is it? Yes, it is. First 6 of the innings. Terrific shot, Bavuma.
50 up for South Africa. And this comes with South Africa's first 6 of the innings. Jamieson just dragging this one slightly shorter. Themba Bavuma is a short man. He's trusted the bounce, much like Ravindra Jadeja. Rachin Ravindra did earlier today. We saw a couple of wonderful pull shots, and Themba Bavuma has just played a beautiful shot there right now.
Brilliant. Yes, Sue.
Vishnu and Bavuma, they didn't put that away. When the opportunities come, you've got to make sure you take them. Super shot, that one. Excellent shot, sufficiently in front. Nobody back there, just long leg. Decides to go up all of those 70 yards. Meters.
Pressure on for 2. Well, he's been collared a wee bit in this over, Dale, but by and large pretty consistent.
Yeah, so far he's been really good. Themba's in a little bit now. He's been out there for a while, so just starting to see it. But as we look at these lengths from Jamieson, and there has been some shape. It's been a little bit of a way shape, assisted by that wind that's coming from right and left. But you can see everything there is in a similar area. A good length, no half volleys. He said, if you want to hit me, you've got to hit me off my length, or you've got to come and find it.
Couple more. Runs starting to flow. Pressure coming back on New Zealand, as you would expect it will at some stages in this run chase.
Such a fast half. Miss hit there. Side half of the bag. What, 15, 20 meters from the boundary? Try and chase that down. So if you get a partnership going, continue.
A dot to end the over, but 10 more off that one, and it's 56 for 1.
The new €8 meal deal from McDonald's. Cheeseburger or mayo chicken, fries, 4 chicken McNuggets, and a drink. But guess what? That's right, €8.
Matto da legare, che crede ancora che tu pensi a me. Non è convinto che sei andata via, che m'hai lasciato e non ritornerai.
Per Moretti Zero. Enjoy life's simple pleasures anytime.
10 overs gone, New Zealand have the last 2 overs have just rocked them a wee bit. Up until that point they probably thought they'd owned that power play, but South Africa, with those 2 big overs at the end, have forced Mitchell Santner's hand a wee bit. And it's gone to Will O'Rourke. What will he do at the other end? Will he keep Jamieson going? Will he bowl himself with the 2 right-handers at the crease? Here's O'Rourke, another tall cookie. He's for width, gets pummeled out towards the offside for 4. Welcome to the crease.
First half volley from New Zealand, I think. And Rassie van der Dussen, he's 16 balls into his innings. He's never going to miss out on that. Rourke, young man, 23, playing in a semi-final today. First ball's gone for 4. He's going to have to pull it back for New Zealand. Big 10 overs from him today.
Width again. Van der Dussen can't quite find the timing there. I think he was home. I'm not sure he expected the throw. Bracewell here.
Excellent fielding. Just doesn't quite get the throw straight. And also because he's got to turn around and go for the throw safe enough. But in that power play, South Africa 56 for 1. That's exactly where New Zealand were. And despite that, we sit up here and thinking about the way the game's going, and it felt very much like South Africa had gone way too slowly. Yeah, a look at South Africa's first 10 overs, and what you'll see first up is the 4 boundaries of the bat of Ryan Rickleton, and then he gets out. If they were to choose a wicket at that stage, New Zealand would have chosen that one, and they got it. But in the last little bit, Van der Dussen as well as Bavuma together combine for a few boundaries that repair the power play and kind of get them back on track.
Oh my goodness, he hit that just for a single. Starting to find his timing, Van der Dussen, there's no doubt about that. There'll be no sleeping easy here for New Zealand in the next 2.5 to 3 hours, I can promise you.
There's what I'm on about. First 10. At the very least, can you hang with New Zealand? And then you're still in the game. And you're 1 down, you haven't taken any risks at all, actually. And, you know, the game's well on.
It's fine enough for 4. He was a bit anxious, wasn't he, Bavuma? He needn't have been.
It's a really good ball, this, by Will O'Rourke. It's in the zone's cross seam. The feet are firmly trapped in the toilet for Temba Bavuma. Another tall bowler that he's got to deal with. He's found the edge, just raced away for a boundary. South Africa just starting to find the ropes a little bit here. Still early days in this game.
Humor. And this is a very good over. O'Rourke under pressure early on in his spell. 13 from that. 3 good ones in a row. It's 69 for 1.
The process. It takes time. It takes patience. It takes trust. Because the process can't be rushed. It built invincibles.
History has been made.
It built treble winners. It built a rivalry. And it's all been building to this. Man United v Arsenal, live on Sky Sports.
Experienced players within their group that know that just give us a foundation and we might be able to take it home for you. There is a change in terms of speed. It will be Michael Bracewell, not Mitchell Santner, as I suspected, with 2 left-handers at the crease. I think he'll get a lot of turn. But he did get 4 wickets for 26 in one of these games, so we'll see. That's Glenn.
Goodness gracious, Glenn. Oh, that was going for 4, you know. Anybody else there, and they don't get to that. As a bowler, you need your mates, you need good fielders. You see, the start of the over now is a dot and 2 dots instead of 4, and you're under pressure. Yeah, fielders, priceless. Very good ones.
Well, because he's on the hard part of the pitch block there, that area that's been compacted and rolled, and he was in nice and tight, he's actually done himself some damage there. I think he's either grazed through the shirt, he's grazed the skin, or cut the arm. He's going to get some attention at the end of the over. Just walks onto that area there, which has been hardly rolled and into a different kind of surface.
Best fielders with the offie in operation. Santner is at square leg and Phillips is at mid-wicket. There are 2 saves right there, where not a single at all. You have to be precise with your gap finding as the batter to be able to get just a single, never mind 2 and 4.
50 partnership, good one. Starting to gain some velocity off just 42 deliveries. Three singles off the Bracewell over, 72 for 1. Interesting to see the speeds there that Bracewell bowled. His last delivery bowl was actually 87.5. They're quite quick. I won't be seeing Santner bowl too nearly up around there. Not initially anyway. I think they take the pace out of it. That was flat and straight. 362 for 6. Phillips 49 not out at the end. Oh, just over short cover. Who was Bracewell? Taken one already in there. Nathan Smith on the field.
A little change of pace here from Will O'Rourke. And you want your fielders in nice and tight in the early part of the over to stop that single. And sometimes you just think, if he was just 5 yards back for me.
You want everything, though.
All the time as bowlers, we want it all.
He's not on the field at the moment, Glenn Phillips, obviously, as you just saw, but what they might need at some point is a little bit of brilliance to break a partnership. Left hand, right hand, that was a screamer. Actually, Virat Kohli just could not believe what he saw there. He stood for 15 seconds just in amazement. Even Kane Williamson there showing that there's still a bit of life in the old body there. Pitching efficiency, pretty good.
Efficiency, it will make a difference if it's up there. Any chance created, really, that's what that says. They take it. Oh, art of flying, they say. Jonty and Phillips.
He's thrilled Temba Bavuma there about the height that went past him. No problem, Paul Rifle got that right.
What about the width? Yeah, that's all right too. Not quite wide enough to be widened.
do you reckon the crowd is cheering for out here? What a decent number have turned up now. It's been the trend here later in the day that stands seem to fill up. Here we've got South Africa and New Zealand. Probably couldn't be further from home in terms of a cricket venue, Lahore. Are they really wanting to win here, you reckon, guys?
I think they're sitting on the fence. I think they'll go with whoever wins.
It's so cold out there, they got 2 shirts on.
Earlier on, we saw a few kind of South African flags and various shirts. We saw an Australian one with guns shown.
And carry. Nathan Smith out there for Phillips. 13 overs gone, 77 for 1.
Yeah, guys.
Sinking situation under control here. 10 runs ahead. Things are on track. Rachin Ravindra just left the field. Phillips is back. Bracewell continues. Now, at what point are they going to come at Bracewell here? That delivering 97.3.
Yeah, and where? Mid-off is up in the circle. That's where the gap is.
Seems like they're okay. You cast your mind back to when South Africa was bowling. Keshav Maharaj's first few overs also really good. First 4 overs, and then at one point New Zealand decided, and Rachin Ravindra decided, this is it. We got a miss hit that went back over. Look at this thing, safe. Miss hit that went back over the bowler for 4, and the next one banged him over long on for 6. And from that point on, the spin was a domination.
Yeah, I think it's particularly interesting that the call to have off spin to these right-handers and say we're going to block that side and ask you to try go offside or take them on, whichever one you want. But mid-off up in the circle with a tallish off-spinner who's going to bowl at quite a good pace and, you know, bowl it rather quickly, and if there's any turn at all, it goes onside. And 2 amazing fielders in the circle where you can't work singles, and the pressure will tell at some point.
And the tallest man in the team at long on, so it's tough to clear him too.
Just the 2 singles from that one. It's 79 for 1. Saved in the course of a tournament like this, Glenn Phillips, or the really best fielders. I mean, I put them in there, but I mean, there are, every side's got a standout. I mean, they would save as a guesstimate. Say if you played 5 games in a tournament, save 10 runs in innings, maybe more.
Yeah, I think 10. I think 10's a lot of runs actually. So think about it. If you're playing 5 games and you save 50 runs. It's a lot of runs.
We also tend to look at the amazing stops that he makes, but you look at that last ball there, he moved himself almost into a mid-on kind of position where the ball rolled to him and he stopped it. It's not a diving stop, but just knowing the racehorse going to go full Bavuma or Van der Dussen and look to knock the ball down the ground, this is where he needs to position himself. That's a run saved without having to even dive.
Umpires hate this, boy. Umpires hate this. They really do. And both Paul Rifle and Damasceno had a good long look at Daryl Mitchell, who wasn't looking back.
And it wasn't by mistake.
They hate it when they throw it straight into the surface like that. Phillips again. With a scamper, don't you? You don't get in third gear. You've got to get in fourth gear real quick when Phillips is on strike. I mean on strike with ball.
Along with the saving of runs where what you're talking about, Dale, where he moves himself, where, you know, it's a hit in his direction and he dives and stops it or takes a catch. There's also what happens when batters just hit it in the direction and just decide, I'm not taking it. I'm not even looking for a single there.
This could be close. Oh, Mitchell Santner fumbled. Reckon that was on, that one. Really do.
They've created the pressure, New Zealand. Singles not easy to come by, and he doesn't quite pick it up. And if he does, Van der Dussen is in trouble, because he's in full flight and in towards the stumps is his weight as he runs. So that would have been a kind of in one motion towards the wickets, and all that was left was to hit the target.
One last thing on the fielding is that you'll see that you cannot take it easy with Glenn Phillips, and fatigue becomes a big thing. We saw Joe Root bat the other night, and had he batted through, he would have probably gotten England over the line against Afghanistan. Now tonight, we've seen South Africa in the field for 50 overs, and now every run they run needs to be at full pace from the get-go. And you want to see Temba Bavuma go on to score 100 to 150. He's going to have to work very hard to get those runs to get South Africa over the line. It's not going to be easy.
6 singles from the O'Rourke over. It's 85 for 1.
It's mad. No, it's like 12 to 13 to you, I think. All right. Okay, bye-bye.